For the last 15 years, Apple's story really had one author, the master of operations, who turned it into the most valuable company in the world. But in a single day, that entire era came to an end. We're going to dive into this massive leadership shift at Apple and what it all means for the future of the iPhone that's probably in your pocket right now.
So how did this all kick off? Well, it started with an internal memo from Tim Cook himself. After 15 years running the show, he announced he was stepping down. Now look, people knew this day was coming, but the timing, that caught a lot of people off guard. He talked about an extraordinary roadmap and said that now was the right time to pass the torch. And wow, what a legacy to leave behind. It's kind of easy to forget just how much Apple completely transformed under Tim Cook. I mean, he took the incredible foundation that Steve Jobs built and constructed a global empire on top of it that's just unprecedented. Let's try to wrap our heads around the scale of it. Okay, so under Tim Cook, Apple's value didn't just, grow, it went supernova. The company's market cap climbed more than 10-fold, blowing past, get this, a staggering $4 trillion. He wasn't just running a tech company, he built the most valuable corporation on the planet, period. So how'd he do it? Well, when he took over back in 2011, revenue was sitting at around $108 billion. From there, he just methodically built out this incredible ecosystem. He created entirely new billion-dollar product categories with things like the Apple Watch and AirPods, and eventually the Vision Pro. By 2025, revenue had almost quadrupled. It was just an absolute masterclass in operational excellence. So you have to ask, right? Who on earth can fill those shoes? Well, with Cook shifting to executive chairman, the company is now being handed over to its 8th CEO. And this new leader, well, he signals a huge shift in where Apple's focus is going. Let's meet the new guy, John Ternus. If you've used an iPad or AirPods or pretty much any modern Mac, you've already experienced his work. He's a mechanical engineer, a 25-year veteran at Apple, and he has spent his whole career deep in the trenches of hardware engineering. So what does this actually mean? This is a fundamental shift in identity for Apple right at the very top. Think about it. We're going from the operations master, the guy famous for perfecting the supply chain, to a product engineer, a leader whose entire career has been about the nuts and bolts of actually building the devices themselves. But here's the thing. Ternus isn't exactly taking the wheel when the car is cruising on a smooth highway. In fact, a lot of analysts are pointing out that he's stepping in at a really challenging and, as one person put it, an awkward moment for the company. And that brings up the big question, right? With record revenues and a $4 trillion valuation, why change leadership now? Well, the answer seems to be that just beneath that shiny surface, Apple's facing some pretty significant headwinds. Ternus is inheriting a company that, let's be honest, is widely seen as playing catch-up on generative AI. The Siri overhaul that's been promised for so long, delayed. Again, they've had to make this kind of weird deal with Google to use their Gemini models. And the Vision Pro? Super impressive tech, for sure, but it hasn't really found that mainstream audience yet. So yeah, the pressure is on for the new product guy to deliver, you guessed it, new products. Okay, so this is the exciting part. Let's get a glimpse of the future. What are the first products that are going to define the Ternus era? And it looks like it starts with something really different from the iPhone we all know. I mean, for years, we've been hearing the rumors, right? But now, it really seems like Ternus is finally ready to pull the trigger on Apple's first ever entry into a completely new smartphone category. So, get ready to meet the iPhone Ultra. We're hearing it's a book-style foldable phone that opens up to this huge 7.8-inch display. And apparently, Apple is completely obsessed with making sure that display has absolutely no crease. We're also hearing about the return of Touch ID on the power button, which probably makes sense for a device this thin. But, and it's a big but, all this innovation is going to cost you. We're hearing a starting price of nearly $2,000. Oof. Okay, but the new era isn't just about crazy expensive foldables. The classic iPhone, the one most of us will actually buy, is also getting one of its biggest upgrades in years, and it seems designed to really reassert Apple's dominance. The iPhone 18 Pro is shaping up to be an absolute spec monster. I mean, just listen to this. A smaller dynamic island, a more battery-friendly display, a brand new A20 Pro chip built on a crazy 2-nanometer process. But the two things that really stand out, the camera, we're hearing about a variable aperture, which is like DSLR level stuff,
and a new C2 modem that could finally bring 5G connectivity via satellite.
And finally, how is Apple going to answer all that criticism about AI? Well, it looks like it's through software, with iOS 27 and what they're calling visual intelligence. Imagine this. You just point your camera at a nutrition label, and it automatically logs it in your health app. Or you scan a business card, and boom, a new contact is created instantly. This isn't flashy, take-over-the-world AI. It's practical, it's integrated, and it's designed to solve little everyday problems. So let's recap. We've got a new CEO who lives and breathes product. We've got a wild new foldable phone on the horizon, and we have a major push into practical, useful AI. Tim Cook built the empire. The question now is, can John Ternus innovate inside of it? All the pieces are on the board. But is this really the start of Apple's next great chapter?